As a follow-up to last week's video where I talked about some horror movies, I thought it would make sense to this week talk about some horror games. So here are 5 awesome horror games. First up is going to be State of Decay. This is a survival horror game and plays a lot on the survival side of things. You are basically in a zombie infested city and you're trying to survive by building a place to sort of hide out, essentially. So yeah, there's a lot of sort of rooting around in houses looking for food and things like that, and it's a game which really took me by surprise considering it was just an indie game. I really enjoyed it. Next up is going to be Left 4 Dead. This is essentially a no-nonsense first-person shooter where you can play single player or ideally with friends in multiplayer, and it's just a giant, almost endless shooting gallery of zombies and other zombie type enemies. Really good fun, as I say, multiplayer, and even just as a single player game it's just a fun, quick game to play. Next up is going to be PT, which sadly never got a full release and we only got a demo to play, but my gosh, that demo left an impression on a lot of people, including myself. Still one of the scariest experiences I've had playing a video game. In fact, a long time ago I actually recorded a little bit of the early gameplay while streaming.
Oh, fuck! Fuck you, game!
Next up is going to be Dead Space. This is a game where you are essentially stuck on a spaceship and you are surrounded by enemies, and they are some of the creepiest looking enemies I've seen in a long time. Very claustrophobic feeling at times, a lot of atmosphere and some serious jump scares throughout that game. Last but certainly not least, and the most recent one that I'm going to include, is Until Dawn on the PS4. This was a great experience. It essentially is just a playable slasher movie. You get to control a bunch of different characters and you determine whether they live or die through your actions. It's a game which actually encourages multiple playthroughs so you can see different endings, and for me it's probably the most obvious one to play over the Halloween weekend. So there we go, those are a few horror games that I've played and really enjoyed. As always, I'd really appreciate if people shared some of their own in the comments below, and of course, thank you very much for watching. I will catch you next time.
He did the monster mash. The monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. He did the mash. It caught on in a flash. He did the mash. He did the monster.